So for those of you who come to this Saturday morning for the first time, just to explain, it's a hybrid in more than one sense. I mean, it's hybrid in the sense that it's both live and online, which is the way we're using hybrid a lot these days. But it's also hybrid in the sense of it's got two elements in one, in the whole thing. And one is the meditation. It's an opportunity to learn and to practice and to go deeper with the meditation. I hope at whatever level of experience you are. So that's one part. The other part, it's also an opportunity for people from the centre to introduce something about Buddhism at a sort of, what I would think of mostly at an introductory level, and thereby creating a kind of natural tension in a way, because there are people who come to the class, especially online, who are really old hands and, you know, have been practicing for quite a long time. So for someone like myself, the challenge is to communicate something for everybody, so it lands with everybody. So the centre is in a sort of theme at the moment, which is wisdom. And so we had the area of ethics, the area of meditation, and now the area of wisdom. And I particularly wanted to draw out relationships between meditation, practicing meditation and mindfulness, and wisdom. And I'm just going to pick out a couple of things. So, I think it's very useful to keep a continuity with what we were doing right in the beginning of the session, in the meditation of clearing. And the word clearing here can be used, but in a slightly different way. So it's clearing extraneous thoughts about things, clearing emotional entanglements that somehow stop you evaluating a situation fairly or clearly. When you sort of go, well, they're against me, you know, so that sort of infamy, they've all got it in for me. You're clearing all of that kind of stuff and realising actually the universe hasn't got it in for you. And that's part of the wisdom, actually, that at a deeper, more existential level, we're all equal. We're not inferior or superior at this deeper level. And that is part of the wisdom that we come to by doing regular meditation practice, by doing the 3 C's actually, and getting more absorbed in our breath. We get to the point where we can have clarity about our situation, what is happening, and to ask the question of ourselves, you know, say, it's like this, it's 100% or 1,000% sure that it's like this. It really is like this. And then asking the question, being able to ask the question of yourself, is that really true? Can I really only live off baklava? No, damn. So, you know, it's a silly example, but it sort of illustrates that on a sort of very practical, down-to-earth, ordinary level, one has all kinds of ideas about what you need, how things are, and what is true. And what the meditation practice does, both actually and symbolically, is it clears your mind so you can actually ask a question clearly, is that true? And your mind is clear enough to get an accurate answer. No. Yes. Yeah, that's true, actually. No, that's not true. That's laughable. Why would you even believe that? So this is actually a level of truth that you can train yourself in. And this is in a way part of the theme that we've been following in these weeks, that having a sense of what is true is a training. It's not just opening a box and it's all in there and you take it out of the box and go, oh, it's true. You learn the skills of getting clearer and more able to see what is an authenticity of experience from which you know this is true and that's just not true. So part of the process of I think is very useful is that once you've done a meditation in the morning, say, or even if you want to do one again in the evening, after you've done the meditation and your mind is feeling quite almost like a calm lake, not many ripples, quite still, you can just ask yourself a simple question like, what matters to me? It's a simple question, he says. But it's a good question. What matters to me? And then something comes up, and you just let it come up. The first thing that comes up, you just let it come up. And then you just, as it were, keep it in mind, and then just have the question, is that true? Is that really true? And then you'll just know, actually, in that moment, because you've got space and you're clear. And you haven't got lots and lots of thoughts about it. But this, but that, but it could be, but maybe, but in this context, all of that is cleared because of the meditation. So there's a direct relationship. So you do the practice for however long you want, and then at the end, you can ask a question like this, what matters? I know I'm repeating myself, sorry. I will do that a lot. And then you just wait for an answer and you just go. And when you wait, there's a little skill here. You stay in touch with the front of your body. And there's lots of bits of your body that you could be aware of, shoulders, face, your heart, all kinds of things that you're sweating, all kinds of signs that could give you a sense of whether something is true or not. But I would suggest initially the front of the body. Just the belly and heart area, just being aware of it as you ask yourself the question, what matters to me and is that true? And if something changes in your body, just like you tighten or you open, you register that experience. So that what is happening here is that an understanding, in brackets, no, they're not brackets, in whatsits, it's not just your head, but it's also includes your body's relationship to that. And in that way you have a body-mind sense of what is true. So you just do that, and at the end of each sit, you get used to it, and it's also a training. So in the same way that we're training ourselves in having a clear area of engagement with 3 C's and the quality, say, of gentle persistence or patience, we have a training in doing this when we are calm, like a still lake, for example, as a metaphor. You can ask yourself this question, what really matters to me? What do I really want? Wait for the answer. Is it true? And if it's a no, actually in that moment is a very important moment. You just stay open to what happens in you when that happens, when you go, no, that's not so what really matters to me. Something will change. Something potentially will fall away and dissolve. And that is a moment in which truth can arise. You see things more as they really are, that this doesn't matter actually, but this matters. For example, growth and development matters. For example, being aware, being authentic matters. And that is, well, at that point, a personal truth. It's true for you, but you could say it's also universal truth. True for everybody. That growth and development, being authentic, matters and is helpful to everybody. So there is a process there, and you go through that process. You train yourself in that process. You get used to it. Perhaps write it down when you get home, so that you remember it. And the video recording of this is on YouTube. So if you can't remember it, you can go to the YouTube and via the website.
We'll upload it to YouTube if we can, yes.
Possibly, but not straight away. Just to refresh your memory, you could even see the whole thing again if you wanted to. So then you take on that training, the clearing of the mind and asking the question, being open to the shift, the change, of the dissolving of something that actually is not true, and the spaciousness and the openness that arises when it dissolves. So I wanted to bring a very particular image to your attention. Now, within Buddhist traditions, symbolism is as important as theory. And part of the reason for that is that symbolism is considered to be an important communication. Metaphor, analogy, imagery speaks to us. And it's very good as part of our training in meditation and developing a sense of reality to be open to that language within ourselves of metaphor. So I started the process a little bit with just saying, well, when you feel like a still lake, it's a metaphor. Yeah? It's your imagination giving you a picture of how you are. You can do that, and I'm only going to mention this briefly, is at the beginning or end of the meditation, you can ask yourself the question, if I'm water, what kind of water am I like now? And you can just let the first image of water that comes to mind come to mind. And it could be anything from mist, vapour, rainbows to icebergs, with everything in between. Lakes, rivers, streams. But you're having a sense of yourself as you ask yourself the question, what is the image in water terms for how I am? And you just start to get used to your mind relating to images. And it has a double value. One value is it gives you it helps you read the sign of how you are. You know, I'm like lava bubbling in a volcano, ready to blow. I'm not actually, but I just give it as an example. You know, it gives you an immediate image that gives you a sense of something that might actually be true, but you're not aware of until you ask the question. Yeah. And then you go, oh, I have to be really careful today. If someone says a word wrong, I am going to blow. So there is a sense of reality in that, in as much as it gives you a sense of experience of how you are. And that's one side of it. But the other side is that it gets you used to the language of the imagination in relationship to things that are true. You know, we can talk about the path. We're on a path of growth and development, of learning, of letting go of things, of transforming. But you can also have an image for that. You know, your path is rocky, or your path is smooth, or you're going through fire at the moment, you know, or you've come to a crossroads and you can't decide which path to take. There's lots of ways in which the imagery can actually illustrate to you what's going on. And if you're a very, and I don't mean this in a derogatory way, it might sound like it, but if you're a very heady type who goes straight to thinking all the time and think you're not an image type person, it's just good to ask yourself a metaphoric question from time to time, because it opens up that faculty. We all have it. And gives you an alternative to just super thinking or hyper thinking. It's this, it's that, it's definitely that. And the image sometimes can be very direct. This is actually what's happening. I'm like a lake, and I'm calm, and I'm deep, and I'm tranquil. And if I want to go sailing, I can. There's a gentle wind, without getting into a storyline about being a member of a yacht club, you know, without that. So, in reference to that, I just wanted to bring your attention to this picture here of a symbol of what is called a bodhisattva in Buddhism, or Mahayana Buddhism. Is a symbol for wisdom, and he's holding a sword and a book. Now, there's lots of associations with swords of a martial nature, but that isn't the association here. It's not a warlike imagery that's intended at all. It's more, I think of it actually as more like a scalpel. Just paring away things and getting down to what is really true. It's cutting away things. So, in that way, I'm not going to use that actually. Oh, yeah, good idea, well done. So the sword here is symbolic, and it's symbolic in this imaginative kind of way of asking that question, what is true here? What has real meaning here? What is important here? Yeah. And is this belief that I have about myself and how I am really true? And it's sort of cutting away all the bits that are, no, no, that's not true. No, that's not true either. And you've always thought that was true, but it's not true. Till you get to, at a certain point, a clarity about how you are at a much more fundamental, without explaining the word, existential level. And you can, and that then relates to the book, which, where's it gone? Oh, right, okay. To the book, which the Manjushri is holding, which represents an open dimension of being, an open dimension of experience. You could say an unfixed experience where you're not fixing things as me, you, this, that, in particular ways. And so there's a relationship between the paring away, the clearing, you could say, of the sword, the cutting through, the seeing through of what is not true, to the experience of how things are and how things can emerge and disappear without any false fixity. So I'm very aware that I was straddling two parts there. Some of you are new to it and some of you are old hands. So I'm aiming to sort of, in a way, do something there for everybody. And I have to resist the temptation to apologise. So what we're going to do is we are going to do a short meditation. And I am going, and it's just going to be for about 15 minutes. And I'm going to guide you not into a visualization so much as what I would call a gentle reflection of this. Are you up for it?
Yes.
Good. Excellent. I'm glad to hear that. Actually, I read my notes wrong. It's going to be 5-minute meditation. Because we can have little groups, online groups. Sorry, I read it wrong. Micro meditation. Settling, calming, arriving. Area of engagement, the body, the front of the body. And now asking yourself, if I'm a lake of water, what kind of lake of water am I like now? And just be open to an image without thinking about it too much. Just be open. And just without criticism or judgment of it. And just staying with the quality of that image of the lake. And then just drop in the word calm and settle. Just drop it in quietly into the back of your mind. Calm and subtle. While still being aware of your body and the sense of water, and if it changes. It might or might not. And then just asking yourself, in my life now, if I just ask myself the question, what matters to me? Just be open to an answer. Just simply, what matters to me in my life now? Be open to an answer. Simple word, or an image, or a feeling in your body. And then asking, is it true? Is that what really matters to me at a deeper level? And just noticing what happens if it's unknown. Whether it feels comfortable or uncomfortable, just be open, even embrace that whole thing of whether it feels comfortable or uncomfortable with the no, actually, that is not what matters to me. And let your attention and awareness, as it were, come into your belly now. And just be open to spaciousness and openness. And whenever there's any trains of thought, just think, not now, and come back to the belly and the sense of your body sitting here. And just staying this openness, and then just to finish, just asking yourself, if I'm a lake now, what kind of lake am I like? And be open to an image of water and lake. Just be open. Take it in and how it feels. Let go of the image, but stay with the quality. Broadening your awareness and resting and just taking in how you are, and if you can, letting go of any tendency to get into thinking about what's going on, just staying with how you are in your body, in your general experience, being open, settling into it. So, I just to finish, in a way, it's a nice simple little template that you think in terms of beginning, middle and end. So at the beginning of a meditation, you have the setup. You set up your area of engagement. You're not clear about that. That's the beginning. You orient yourself. You motivate yourself. You get yourself with the har, if you know what I mean. The wanting to do it. And then you do it. You get into it and you deal with oh, it's difficult, or it's great, or it's going well, or stay with it, and the process, check, clear. And then you finish. And how you finish is also really important. So give yourself time mentally to just have a little quiet time at the end where you can absorb and in a way take in what happened and stay with it. And the thing to notice is when your mind immediately goes into commentary. Oh, that was whatever kind of commentary it is about what you did. But for as much as possible, keep that clear if you can. That's also a training. So that the commentary wants to rush in and explain everything and fix everything, but as much as possible, keep that aside and just stay with whatever it is, the process of experience, whether it's calm lake, rippled lake, lake with springs or undercurrents or whatever, just stay with it. And I think this way that I mentioned of having a broad awareness, sort of using a photographic metaphor analogy of wide angle with depth of field. So rather than focusing in on something very specifically, you've been doing that anyway, perhaps on the breath, but you broaden and you have a depth and a wealth even of experience, and you just stay with that. And then when you're ready, you go to your next activity, whatever that is, and you do the same thing, beginning, middle, end. You know what you're going to do. You're going to make dinner, you're going to get everything laid out, all your ingredients, make sure your knives are sharp, you've got everything you need. That's your area of engagement, and you're going to be as present as you can, and notice when your mind wanders, bring it back and make sure you don't cut your finger off. And then serve the meal. And then when the meal's finished, that's the end. You enjoy it. And then you go on. So I just want to say to all of you who are here for the first time, please think about coming back. If you have any inclination, any leaning to in any way, follow that leaning into it. And there's obviously so many other things that you could be doing, but just remember, it matters. It's worth it. And when you can, just come to the classes. And next week will be again on the wisdom thing, although there still will be an introduction to meditation as well. So on that note, I'm going to say goodbye to everyone, both online and in the room, and goodbye.